I don't shake hands with people like you. Step away from me. Now.
The sentence ripped through the polished marble lobby of Kane International Tower, slicing the air like a blade. Conversations died mid-sentence. Footsteps froze. Even the hum of the elevators seemed to stutter, as if time itself hesitated, unsure whether to move forward or recoil. Richard Kane, billionaire CEO, architect of empires, and self-proclaimed visionary, had just yanked his hand back as though it had brushed against something infectious, something beneath him. The hand he rejected remained suspended in the air. It belonged to Elijah Washington, 58 years old, 12 years employed maintaining this very building. 12 years of polishing floors no one noticed. 12 years of fixing lights above offices he would never sit in. That hand was rough with labor, scarred with honesty, steady with pride, and now, empty. Elijah's smile, warm and instinctive, faltered. His eyes flickered, not with anger, not with shame, but with quiet confusion. "I was only being polite, sir," he said gently. Kane's jaw tightened. "Then don't be," he snapped. "Stick to what you're paid to do." The silence that followed was louder than the insult. Behind a decorative pillar near the concierge desk, a young marketing intern stood frozen, her phone raised. She had been live-streaming a casual day-in-the-life video, office culture, luxury aesthetics, corporate inspiration. Instead, she had captured something far more valuable, a man's true character. The stream didn't cut, the camera didn't shake, and the internet was watching. Security guards shifted uncomfortably. A receptionist swallowed hard. A woman near the elevators clenched her fists. No one spoke. Elijah slowly lowered his hand, not in defeat, in dignity. "Yes, Mr. Kane," he said calmly. "I understand." He turned away without another word, shoulders straight, pride intact, walking back toward the service corridor he knew better than any boardroom. What no one in that lobby understood, especially Richard Kane, was that those 7 careless words had already started a countdown. 4 minutes. That's all it would take. 4 minutes until arrogance cost $5 billion. Because standing silently near the elevator bank, eyes sharp, expression unreadable, was the one man Richard Kane needed more than air: Malik Anderson. 24 hours earlier, Richard Kane had stood alone in his corner office, gazing out over Manhattan like a king surveying conquered land. The city bent beneath him, glass, steel, ambition stacked sky high. "Tomorrow's the Anderson Investment Group meeting," his executive assistant Jennifer said, clipboard in hand. "They're prepared to commit $5 billion to the renewable energy expansion." Kane smirked. $5 billion, he repeated. "Make sure the executive floor is spotless. No distractions. I want perfection." Jennifer nodded. "And Jennifer," Kane added casually without turning around, "make sure only executives are present. Some people don't belong in rooms where real decisions are made." What Kane didn't know, what he never bothered to learn, was that Malik Anderson hated polished performances. He didn't care for rehearsed speeches or curated impressions. Malik arrived early, always. He wanted to see how companies behaved when they thought no one important was watching. He wanted the truth. And that morning, the truth had been standing in the lobby with a toolbox. Malik Anderson had arrived at Kane International Tower at 1:57 p.m., opting to skip the escort and walk through the building alone. That's when he saw Elijah, not as staff, not as maintenance, as family. Elijah Washington wasn't just a facilities worker. He was Malik's brother-in-law, a man Malik deeply respected, a man with 2 master's degrees who chose honest work over hollow titles, a man who once told him, over Thanksgiving dinner, "A man's worth isn't measured by who he knows," Elijah had said, passing the mashed potatoes, "but by how he treats people when nothing's at stake." Malik had never forgotten that. So when he witnessed Richard Kane recoil from Elijah's handshake, when he heard the venom in Kane's voice, when he saw dignity met with contempt, something inside Malik went cold. He didn't intervene. He didn't shout. He did something far more dangerous. He remembered. At exactly 2:03 p.m., Richard Kane entered Conference Room A. The room was all glass and chrome, overlooking the city like a throne room in the sky. Kane wore his charm like armor. "Mr. Anderson," he said brightly, extending his hand. "Richard Kane, ready to change the world together." Malik didn't move. His phone buzzed softly on the table. The live stream had crossed 3 million views. The hashtag handshake gate was trending worldwide. Malik looked up slowly. "The man in the lobby," he said calmly. "What's his name?" Kane blinked. "I'm sorry." "The man you just humiliated," Malik continued, voice steady but lethal. "The one whose hand you refused. What is his name?" Kane's smile stiffened. "I don't see how a minor HR issue is relevant to a $5 billion partnership." Malik stood. The room seemed to shrink. "His name," Malik said, "is Elijah Washington." Kane opened his mouth. Malik raised a hand. "He has more integrity in his fingernails than you have in your entire boardroom." Kane stammered. "Now wait. This is being blown out of proportion. It was a misunderstanding." "No," Malik interrupted. "A misunderstanding is a missed email. What I saw was a revelation." Malik closed his briefcase with a sharp snap that echoed like a judge's gavel. "I invest in renewable energy," he said, "but I don't partner with companies powered by moral decay." Kane's voice cracked. "You're walking away over one handshake?" Malik stepped closer. "I'm not walking away from you, Richard," he said quietly. "I'm letting the world see you." He turned toward the door. "By the way," Malik added, glancing at his tablet, "your stock is already down 20%. Turns out the public doesn't like companies run by men who lack basic humanity." At the door, Malik paused. "Respect costs nothing," he said, "but today you paid $5 billion for not giving it." And then he left. By 4 p.m., Kane International was unraveling. Employees began leaving. Not loudly, not angrily. Together, accountants, designers, engineers, janitors. They walked out in solidarity with a man most executives couldn't name, until that morning. By market close, the board voted unanimously. Richard Kane was terminated. 6 months later, the tower had a new name: Washington Anderson Plaza. Elijah Washington sat in a sunlit office on the top floor, now Vice President of Community Relations. Not because of favoritism, because culture matters, because dignity matters, because leadership starts with how you treat the people who keep the lights on. Malik knocked softly on the door. "Looks good on you," he said. Elijah smiled. "I told a reporter something yesterday," Elijah said, gazing out at the city. "I extended my hand in kindness, and one man refused it, but millions reached back." He turned. "That's the power of dignity." Somewhere else, in a small apartment far from the skyline, Richard Kane watched the news in silence. For the first time, he understood. Respect isn't a luxury, it's the foundation. He built a tower that touched the clouds, but forgot that every building stands on the strength of the ground floor. And that mistake cost him everything. Because every story matters, every person matters, and every act of respect has the power to change the world. Like, share, subscribe.